It's 5:39 p.m. It looks like according to my time. For those here in Brett, would you please stand with us and join us in the pledge of allegiance to the flag? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Just to let you know, this is a remote participation Zoom meeting. It's a public meeting being video and audio recorded for cable broadcast and internet posting on www.dayton-mass.gov and YouTube. Zoom meeting number is 854-6263-8092. The Zoom meeting passcode is 538317. And the Zoom dial-in number is 1-929-205-6099. Present here live are member Matt Tanis, member Thomas Pyers, and remote is member Kevin Bernardo. Also with us are Building Commissioner James Aguirre, Board of Health Agent Todd Pilling, and our Office Manager Rosalind Grassi. There are no other members live remote at this time. So we'll move on right on to old business, the FY22 budget progress update. And I'll speak to that. After our last meeting, we voted to send a letter to the Board of Selectmen requesting reconsideration of our budget, which they accepted. And I believe it was March 30 when I met with the Board of Selectmen. We discussed some of the issues on our budget, one being the upgrade of office manager, and we concluded and agreed that there will be providing the town votes to fund the budget for a wage and classification study. And we agreed to that. We also, some of the 2% wage increase for the Board of Health members, my understanding that no other board, part-time board was receiving that. And so we agreed to, again, this year pass on and not receive an increase in a Board of Health members' budget. Did discuss the wages and hours of the health agent. The end result, I was a little disappointed in how it went. But I plan on moving forward to the Finance Committee, and hopefully we'll be able to make some progress there as far as the wages go for a health agent. So without objection, my plan is to go forward and move to the Finance Committee and then to town meeting if necessary to fund that position to what it should be. So, and that's how that day went. If there's any comments, let me know.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment.
What is that?
Yes, comment.
Can you hear me?
Good. You Kevin, go ahead.
So are you proposing the same budget that was denied by the selectmen?
We went back to the first budget that we had submitted is what we did.
So, yeah, so that's what you're going to the finance committee with?
That's the one you're gonna go to the finance committee, right?
If you recall, what we decided on at one of our previous meetings was 35 hours at $38.13 an hour, which to me is still short money, but it's what we decided on, it's what we gotta go with. So that's my plan, and I think our plan going forward.
Yeah, I would agree. If you want to proceed with the finance committee, we can always try with them, so.
Okay. So there's no objection to that road or that avenue moving forward? Kevin?
No, the only thing I would say is the selectmen did vote not to approve. So I don't know,
Well-
it's gonna be a tough sell, I would just say.
Jim?
Yeah, so the selectmen voted not to
Recommend.
recommend, exactly, thank you, that's the word. So, you know, they've done that in the past, it doesn't necessarily mean it won't get approved by FinCom or the voters. So it's just a step in the process.
Thank you, Jim. How's that go?
Yeah, that's all I had.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move on to item number 3B, review, discuss, and act, 800 Center Street, update and action.
So back to.
You want to read the letter?
Oh, I didn't really, no, definitely read the letter. I was just gonna say, we have voted on this to send it to town council, but we've been a little overwhelmed in the office, so we have not yet put together a package for town council.
Okay.
Motion to table. So, right?
I think the main meeting, we're looking to reschedule it to 3 weeks from now. I don't think that would be enough time, but we do need to get the package together and get it off. I understand that, but.
Reschedule, well, motion to table until the June meeting. Pending, town council's comment.
Okay, there was a motion made by Mr. Tanis to table until we get more information from town council. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Bernardo seconds the motion. Have a roll call vote. Is there any further discussion first?
This is in regards to 800 Center Street, the ongoing issue with the septic system.
Okay.
Just a couple.
I'm not sure everyone heard, but that's fine. This is in regards to 800 Center Street and an ongoing problem we have being tabled. So we have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Tanis?
Aye.
Mr. Bernardo?
Aye.
Mr. Pires also votes aye. Okay, looks like we need to reschedule this is item 3C, reschedule the bulky item pickup week. There's a couple of reasons. We're looking to reschedule this. And if you care to take, or Rosalind would care to take the,
Yes, so we're having some internal office scheduling conflicts with the week we chose, because that week we'll probably deal with, I don't know, 500 or 600 phone calls. So we need to have both office staff in the office that week. That's on top of the regular 100 calls a day. So we want to push it out from the week. Right now we're scheduled for the week of May 24th. We want to push it out to the week of June 7th. And that would line up better with office staff.
is the highways superintendent on board with this?
Yeah, he was okay. He was wide open for.
Okay. I don't see a problem with it, but any comments on moving it forward? None by Mr. Tanis. How about Mr. Bernardo? Any comments?
No, if Tom Ferry's fine with it, I'm fine with it.
Okay. And what date are we looking at? June?
June 7th to the 11th.
Okay. Now that we have an exact date, can we get that on the message board that we wanted to get something on? Or is
Rabies,
somebody using it?
rabies clinic might be first,
Okay,
because rabies clinic is May 15th. So that'll probably be the first one to go out.
okay.
Yeah, they needed it for the election. I think there might have been another one we got to get up there. We might be putting up something about vaccine because it opens to everybody to pre-register on Monday. So that will probably be the first notice we put out.
Mhm.
And then we'll switch it over to rabies and then we'll switch it over to both.
Okay,
But we're already getting calls for both.
a lot going on. Okay, item in the 3D, I guess, review, discuss, and act, COVID-19 updates. I guess we'll try to get our health agent to speak to that again.
Yep, so you all have in front of you a,
No, I didn't.
So,
Although Tom has one, sorry. Jim might be.
all right, Kevin, I'm going to share my screen here. Everybody can see it. All right, so this is the COVID update that we've been providing to the selectmen every week. It runs from a Monday to a Sunday because the selectmen are asking for the counts on Monday mornings. You'll see up at the top, we're currently in phase 4, step 1. Dayton is in the red because of the number of cases we've had. We've been kind of holding there. We've been reaching out to all residents over 80 years old to see if they need help getting the vaccine. And it was, for a while there, we were helping a lot of people, but it seems to have slowed down considerably. I think people, the higher age groups are getting the vaccine more. At the moment, we're at 19% of the town has been fully vaccinated, which is great. Now you'll see here, we got the number of positive confirmed each week. The number was going down and then it went back up, and it's been a rough couple of weeks in the office because other things, it's springtime, so other things are picking up. But it's been an awful lot of calls, and in total, we are now at 1,500 people have been fully vaccinated in the town of Dayton. So, but we now provide this to the, what do you call it? To the Board of Selectmen every Monday, and they obviously talk about it at their meetings. We've also, was it 12 homebound people that Mrs. Grassi got registered to get the vaccine, and we know a couple of them had started getting it, but we haven't heard that they've all gotten it yet, and temporarily it's on pause.
I was gonna say, they were using J&J vaccine going down. Would assume that's temporarily paused.
Is that what you were getting?
For homebound, yes.
Johnson, yeah.
Maybe logistically and cost-wise, financially, it makes more sense to not have to go back and do everybody again. So.
Yeah, one shot.
Push with the J&J for homebound. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's.
Well, good job with the homebound people getting a contact with them.
We actually have a database for them now. So.
Yeah, I understand Don Hershey did a great job.
Oh, yeah, we do have 3 shout outs to make. Don Hershey called like 49 veterans or went to their houses if they didn't have a phone for him, and he took care of all of them. The new town clerk has been amazing. He was immediately got his phone numbers. He reached out to us about the election and how to get that set up. He's been great. And Tom Ferry with the message board, dragging around and moving the net. And every day he moved it, we catch another few people. So it worked out pretty well.
Are you ready to move on to the vaccine dispensing?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So the vaccine dispensing, that's what we're talking about, the homebound program that we have, well, Ross mostly has been taking care of that and calling all the people. We've pre-registered a bunch of people, and it's moving along.
That's still there?
Yeah, Kevin's still here. It's just not on the screen.
Oh, all right.
Just give it a second. He still can hear us.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's much else to report with the vaccine. We've helped a couple people get their, what do you call it? Get registered.
Yep, we helped a couple of people that couldn't get to the mass vaccination sites to closer. So everyone that has needed a vaccine now has been helped. Everybody that has reached out to us is all good.
You sat down too soon.
What?
Yeah, no, you want to add anything to the contact tracing? I think.
Oh, contact tracing, no.
We kind of covered that.
No, we did break 1,000 people for who we've communicated with since December 1st when Rose and I started doing this. But it's nice that the number of people vaccinated has surpassed the number of people we've talked to. So that's a good thing. But it still goes on. We're still getting several cases a day and it's still taking up time. And we'll get into it in a second here, but the schools, we're starting to see a bunch of cases at the schools. We're starting to see a bunch of cases with the sports at the schools. A lot of the local sports are starting out behind town hall and on the town field, so I'm expecting more of that. Town offices, we've been pretty quiet here, but we've, thanks to the building inspector here and the DPW employees here, we've been able to move some people around and spread them out a little bit right now so they're not on top of each other. They're not done with the construction yet, but at least people are spread out and everybody seems happier with the new layout over there. So that's going pretty well too. But Mr. Aguirre, I can speak on that if you want.
Town offices will be open to the public shortly, right?
Tuesday, they are supposed to be opening to the public. Right now it's by appointment only, and from Tuesday it's going to be a full opening. You still have to wear a mask when you come in, but we believe all the workers in town hall are protected. There's enough plexiglass and sanitizer and cleaning that's going on that they're going to be safe. So.
Mr. Commissioner, do you want to speak to that at all? What's going on over there?
No, I think we're staying on target. We're doing fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for the cooperation.
Todd, I had a quick question.
Yep.
Are you still meeting with Lori every day?
With who today?
Every morning.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
nurse?
the nurse calls in every morning. We usually seem to have at least one case that has a question associated with it or something that we need an answer from that we need her, or she calls the state epi and gets back to us. So yeah, every morning, some mornings longer conversations than others. Sometimes we call her back multiple times during the day, but yes, she's still there every day.
Great.
Anything else from anyone want to add? No? Yeah, going to move on to number 4, new business. Review, discuss, and act and to develop a health agent employment contract. We are in possession of one with the assistance of our health agent. And actually, these are some of the things he would be
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No,
okay. That he would like to be considered in an employment contract. I've read it. And the only comment that I think we should consider, but that's going to be, I guess, between the parties if and when they negotiate a contract, was at an emergency call-ins that the salary be covered by the party that's calling in for the emergency, whether it be Board of Selectmen, Highway, because we don't know what this is going to cost us for all the departments. And if it's if it gets called by a certain board or committee, then my feeling is this should be paid by that board or committee. But not sure that would be logical and reasonable, but I think it is. So, Mr. Tanis, you have any comments?
Nothing to do with negotiation on this. I'm sure I'd start town administrator and then Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, so this all started back with the previous town administrator, Mallory Arnstein, and she said to me, write your contract and then bring it to us. You know, and then obviously when this board is happy, it would go to the new town administrator, and then he would bring it to selectmen or whatever. And so I understand it'll probably take a little while by the time it gets all the way through, but this is what I put together based on, because Mrs. Arnstein sent me her contract, and I have the clerical union contract, and I had a few other things, and I kind of put it together. And I do know there's other people in town that also don't have a contract, so I don't know where it's gonna go, like where the town wants to go with this, but I figured we had to put something in writing, because they keep saying I can't get any more money until I have a contract, so.
So my best guess on it is anyone that is kind of in limbo, Jim and Tom Ferry, any of those positions that aren't really in a union or already have a contract. Well, I would assume if they're going to do it for one, they're probably going to try to push for everybody. So a lot of the language is going to wind up being the same, you know, across the board for everybody. I would anticipate that would be the case. Maybe not. But obviously, every position is a little bit different, so there's some, you know, differences. But so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, at Todd's request, he basically proposed exactly what you said. Try and have us all use the same template. I read Todd's template. I think it's close to what I had drafted.
Okay.
So I think keeping them uniform would be a great idea. Hopefully the other non-union department heads feel the same. So I'll be working on mine as well. I have one comment about the reimbursement for call-outs. To date, I've not seen that work because of the wide array of reasons we get called out. However, I have passed on expenses for after-hour inspections or emergency inspections to the contractor or property owner in a non-emergency situation. So, you know, something that's not an act of God or weather or things of that nature. I have passed those through, and we've been successful getting reimbursement in every case. So that might be something, especially for weekend inspections that may occur for special events, things of that nature. You might want to pass that through to the end user. I know there's permit fees, but they typically don't cover weekend inspections or nighttime inspections. So.
Yeah, that'd probably be my biggest. I know historically in my contracts in the past, it's usually if you get anything, it's comp time instead of payout, unless there's some unforeseen reason that there's no way you could do comp time, which I know right now it puts a bind into things because, you know, you come out, you do something on a weekend now, you're losing time during the week when the current state of things is tough. I'm
not hard and fast with this contract. This was meant to be a starting point.
Right.
I think there's a lot of people that need to agree to it. So I
don't agree with say that call out you already get the comp time. If it's something that's 30 minutes on a Saturday afternoon, no, you're not going to get 30 minutes comp time. It's ridiculous. I mean, obviously, you completely interrupted your weekend, your day, whatever it is. There's usually some type of minimum. You know what I mean? So that definitely, I think that piece with the minimums, I think is fine. Just maybe language it's an either or, depending on the current town finances, where we stand, you know, make the comp time a primary with a backup if, hey, we're in the middle of COVID and things are blowing up again, there's no way you could use comp time. All right, now we'll pay out. That way it gives the town some flexibility if finances are short. And also you flexibility if you wind up with a lot all at once and it's a ridiculous amount of comp time that you just can't use. I think that's kind of a happy medium. That's my 2 cents on it.
I would agree with what you said, Jim, more than what I suggested, because I just wonder if something like that, if we would have to put it in our regulations or our
So
expense.
I have it in my fee schedule.
Yeah, I think it's something we could probably get in our fee schedule.
Right.
Would make more sense and let the individual fund it. So, Kevin, any comment?
Yeah, I looked at it briefly, but I did notice a section where it talked about insurance buyback or $5,000 payback. Do we actually have that in place?
No, that is not in place with the clerical union right now. I don't think anybody has that in their contract at the moment.
Some towns are doing that, Kevin.
Yeah, when I worked at Lakeville, they actually had that, but I would suggest that something like that be in place while it's in the contract. So, I mean, so you can address it in the contract.
I have that. No, it's an incentive for the employee to not take the town's health insurance. I mean, ultimately, if you look at the town's cost for insurance, I mean, that's, you know, the town is making out substantially still on the deal, you know. So.
Right now, I think it's a good starting off point, but I would just say you have to tweak it a little bit and we could talk about it more as we move forward.
Yeah, I would expect some tweaks. And one of the other things in this that I think is going to be a thing is, for example, I thought the Board of Health was my boss and I'm reporting to you guys and you're the ones that are doing my evaluation and stuff, but like Mallory's contract, the selectman or her boss, or Jim, the selectman is the boss. So in my case, it's a little different here. If I'm going to give 60 days notice, is it to you guys or is it to the Board of Selectmen? And that's some of the, you know, it's like the conservation agent. Her employment says that she has to respond to the selectmen, not to the Conservation Commission, which to me doesn't make sense. But so some of that is, like say, the nitty gritty that needs to be worked out. But yeah,
I think you're appointed by the selectmen, so you're under the selectmen.
As are we, so.
As are we, so they're technically your boss, our boss.
Right. Well, that being said, like the performance evaluation, who does my evaluation? Is it the Board of Health or the town administrator?
It's a tricky, for Todd and Roz, it's actually rather sticky because if you look at the state law, the state statute, the Board of Health hires and fires agents and other staff that support the Board of Health function. So, you know, obviously for us, we're appointed by the Board of Selectmen, and I know, you know, Todd's appointment is by the Board of Selectmen, but I mean, at the end of the day, who's ultimately his boss, if you will.
Giving me my marching orders.
Yeah.
You know,
I know when I worked in Lakeville, I was under inspectional services. My board members gave me directions. They voted on policy, but when it came to supervision, I was always told my direct supervisor was the inspectional director of services, and it was also the selectmen because they appointed me.
yeah, kind of a dual role. I'd like to get clarification as to which board is responsible for what, you know. Just so we're clear, especially when it comes to performance evaluations and anything like that.
Yeah.
I think that should be clarified. That's really not necessarily maybe pertinent to the contract, but maybe something that needs to be altered in job description. But that way it's clear going forward for us too, you know, with the board and also Todd, and you know, who reports to what for, you know, whatever the case may be or when, and you know.
Like the transfer station is a question mark because that's a kind of a in between the highway department and the Board of Health, or you know, who runs that and stuff. So right, there are some things that need to be.
Yeah. And that's not on the contract, is it, Todd? The transfer station?
No.
Nope.
That's something that should probably be looked at, because eventually we're gonna have to say who manages that.
Right.
Because we control the budget, but who manages it?
You know what dangerous road that can lead down, Kevin. I've been there and you've been there. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But in the end, we had a few hiccups last year. So knowing what we know, we should at least look into it.
There's a lot of things that we feel need to be done or should be done. Many things now are outside the job descriptions of the office manager and the health agent, which is why we're trying to get some consideration and recognition of exactly what is what within that job description, and that'll be paid at the appropriate rate for doing that. There's both office staff has made several recommendations, and we just don't have time to follow through on it. Perhaps once COVID's gone, we can do this, but I think we need to have a good sit down with the Board of Selectmen and town manager and discuss all the items that are up in the air as far as duties and responsibilities. The wage and classification study, if passed, is only going to be done for union employees. So we need to get a handle on non-union employees.
Well, they did say they were gonna take Todd's 4-page document into consideration, if you recall.
Todd, I'm having one done in my position now. So once that's done at some point next couple months, that's by an independent, company. That's what they do.
Right.
So I would assume I would get a copy of that. I'd be more happy to share that.
It's like public information once.
They'll actually probably be calling Dayton because there's like groups of communities and how they do it. A big part of it is they look at the community and then it's like bands of rings from out there that they evaluate the position. So it would be very, very close to yours. So if I can get my hands on a copy. Looking forward to it.
Okay.
Maybe in June.
Gonna move on.
I just looked at the MMA with all the opening jobs for the health agents that are out there right now.
Non-stop.
And the
We're
ones
gonna
that sit
try
out
to
there
pick
open for
this
6
up a
months.
little bit, since it's 6:11. My understanding, we have until 6:45, but we should be able to get through these. Item 4B, public review, discuss and act public health emergency preparedness PrEP grant number 3. This was coming from the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards, MAHB. Dear Board of Health, on January 14th, 2021, MAHB received specific instruction to distribute public health trust fund money to support COVID-19 public health related services. The Massachusetts Association of Health Boards hereby awards a grant to the Dayton Board of Health in the amount of $4,017 to support the following areas: surveillance and case identification, monitoring of travelers, data management, or data management, however you want to pronounce it, isolation and quarantine, surge staffing, risk communications, public health coordinations with healthcare systems, and COVID-19 vaccination. Again, total is $4,017. I think we need to find out if we can spend this as we see fit, or does the office want it, in their general fund to supplement the costs that have already been incurred by our contact tracing and other work related to COVID. I don't know if you've heard anything, but Todd, when you talked to him the other day, CARES is not or may not be covering contact tracing.
FEMA is not going to cover
FEMA,
contact tracing.
okay.
The CARES Act will,
Okay,
is what we've been told, what our accountant has been told.
okay.
So
So we'll get that money sooner or later, or 75%.
most likely later. But Yes, this is, yeah,
It won't be
we're still trying to get
100%.
straight answers.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're the same way in Rainham. That you haven't heard with any degree of certainty. So this $4,000, it sounds like it is gonna go towards contact tracing right now. I don't think there's anything else we're doing right now that we could use it for, but we're still trying to figure out, we have to like June 30th to spend it, so.
Okay.
Couldn't we put that on the next meeting agenda and just kind of look at what's our needs and see how we can spend it?
Yes, the first thing we have to do is accept the grant money, so I have to sign saying we want it. I'm assuming we want it, and I will sign that agreement. So, and yeah, we can put it on the next agenda and we'll try and figure out what uses we can have for it.
Perfect.
So I guess we should have a motion to accept the award of $4,017.
So moved.
Second,
Motion is made by Mr. Tanis to accept the award, seconded by Mr. Bernardo. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, Mr. Tanis,
Aye.
Mr. Bernardo,
aye.
Mr. Pires is also an aye. So there you have it. We can put this on next meeting. I think we should find out first if we can spend it to our needs or what the pleasure of the board, the town manager, board of selectmen is, before we go spend it. So we don't get in any more trouble. Upcoming meeting schedule, number 4C.
So again, what's happening is vacation time, both the office staff have vacation time that we have to use by June 30th. And so we're trying to take some time off that I think we need because we're starting to get a little stressed around here. But the May meeting right now is May 13th. We would like to move it up to May 6th, still a Thursday night. And the June meeting is June 10th. We want to move that up to June 3rd. Those are the two meetings that we see in the near future that need to be moved to address, to work around vacation schedules. So it would be the first Thursday of the month.
No
May-
conflict with other,
For May and June, no, not for,
that you know of.
it might be the 7 o'clock thing again, but we can still be out of here.
Yeah,
by 7.
okay.
Which
And-
one?
Anybody have an issue with moving the dates up to the second Thursday?
First Thursday. Right now, they're the
First Thursday.
second. We're gonna move them to the first.
I think that works for me.
Ms. Bernardo, is that okay with you?
Yeah, I think that works for me. That should be fine.
Okay. Waiting on Mr. Tanis, checking the schedule.
First Thursday.
Oh. What's the date for the first Thursday?
May 6th and June 3rd.
I can do May 6th. Yeah, that's fine then.
June 3rd too.
Yeah.
So cable can only video at 6 o'clock. We can't get here for 5. So 6 o'clock, okay with everybody?
Yes.
So can we get a motion to change the meeting schedule dates for May and June, please?
Make the motion to change the May meeting and June meeting to the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion was made by Mr. Tanis to change our meeting date to the first Thursday of the month for the month of May and the month of June. If we took a summer vacation, that would probably mean we wouldn't have to meet, so I guess we'll stay with the meetings one a month as moving forward, so.
Moving from summer.
Okay.
We may need those meetings for mosquito issues and
All right.
whatnot.
I'm losing my voice, so would you want to read the next item?
Oh, okay.
Oh, we didn't vote officially.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was just I seconded it. That was it.
Mr. Tanis,
Aye.
Mr. Bernardo,
Aye,
Mr. Pires also votes aye. Thank you, Kevin, for the heads up.
no problem.
Okay, moving on to 4D, review, discuss, and act revising septic regulations.
Yeah, so this is basically, I guess mostly me. These are things that I've been seeing over the last couple of years since we implemented our new rules back on July 1st of 2019. These are a few things that I would like to throw into the regs. Obviously, it means having public hearings to revise the regulations and all that, but these are just my ideas. Obviously, we're open to discussion and all that, and if somebody wants other stuff or whatever. But the biggest one here that is really annoying is the percolation tests that people are calling from the 1980s from some tests. They can't find the logs anywhere, and nobody ever submitted official logs, and it's rather difficult. So whether it be a 5-year or 10-year, I don't care, but I think we need to put some kind of expiration date on perk tests. But the rest of the stuff is, to me, it's all minor stuff just to address some other little things. But
If nothing else on the perk test, I would definitely never accept anything prior to passing 95 Title V regs.
oh, 1995 maybe.
Yeah, at the minimum, you know, just because I mean that's under that way. At least any perks are actually under the new current standard as far as conducting a perk and done by a licensed soil evaluator.
But again, they say it was just meant to be, hey, if you guys are in agreement with it, we can start the ball rolling and put it on the next agenda and get it in the paper and all the rest of it. So if everybody feels that way. And we obviously can't vote on them tonight or even really discuss them kind of thing, but it's just, yeah. So.
I don't know how much stuff you have for the next agenda, but we could probably go one by one and kind of just give a brief discussion about it. Then we could put it on a public hearing.
I don't know if we have time tonight, Kev, just because.
No, I mean for the next meeting, I meant.
At the May meeting, yeah.
Yeah. Is there a motion to table to our May meeting?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to table it just to at the May meeting for further discussion.
Second.
And motion made to table by Mr. Tanis, seconded by Mr. Bernardo. Is there any further discussion? Seeing those, all in favor? Mr. Tanis,
Aye.
Mr. Bernardo,
Aye.
Mr. Pires, also an aye. So item number 6D is tabled to our next meeting in the month of May. First Thursday, correct?
Yes.
All right.
All right, 6E, 2020 annual report. We got an email from the office manager over in the Board of Selectmen. The annual reports are due by today for inclusion in the town report. In the past, Mr. Tanis has been kind enough to put it together for us, but obviously this year time is fleeting for all of us. So I took the liberty of taking last year's report, obviously tweaking it for this year, and added in a couple paragraphs about COVID. And I also added in a paragraph about household hazardous waste day. The problem is that it's now 3.5 pages long, and so I think it may need to be shortened. And so obviously open for somebody to take a large quantity of red ink and have at it, or if they want, we can send them the Word document. If one of the board members would like to play around with it, that would be excellent too. So
Todd, if you want to submit a Word document, I'll get it to you.
sure. Okay. I can forward it. But obviously everybody's got a copy of it, so any comments, send them, or send them to me, and then I can send them to Matt that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta finalize it
Yeah, just.
in your spare time. Okay.
When did you say it was due? Tomorrow?
If they were due today.
Oh,
They'll get it Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
It does not conflict with what we've done, so.
F for F, TAVA, which is Taunton Area Vietnam Veterans Association Cruise Night Food Permit Fee Waiver Request. They do a car show here behind Town Hall like 3 times a year in the summer. And it's a nonprofit organization, and they set up a grill and they cook burgers and dogs, and people do car show stuff. He submitted a waiver letter asking to waive the fee for the event.
Well, I don't have a problem waiving the fee. However, car shows currently fall under an outdoor event under COVID guidelines. Right now, it caps at 150 people. They have to get at least a name, same like anything else, one name at least in a party. If there's 4 people show up, at least one name and number. And the biggest issue is in relation to the food. They have to follow all the restaurant guidelines, which means you can't have just a burger stand and people can walk around eating. They have to actually sit. So I just wanted to put that out there, just to make sure that they're aware of those current guidelines. They could certainly change as we go forward through the summer, but that's what they are right now.
He was aware of them, 150. He says they don't usually have that many people. The food, he was told they have to have designated areas for people to eat in. They would make announcements. They're going to sit on the concrete bleachers or whatever. They're going to designate one area for people to sit at to eat. So he is aware of it and he wants to move forward with it. So
That was Tony?
yes, Tony Rosario.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that is in charge of TAVA.
I would probably just ask for some type of just written statement in return, just stating that they're aware of the current COVID guidelines and they will be following them. That way, in case we have issues, they're aware. And
Well, that would probably work, because we've got like an event coming up at a church, and there's like another, like a yard sale, not a yard sale, but like flea market thing, so that would probably be a good document.
same type of thing, and just ask them, just even if it's, we'll call police to have, people, some people removed, just something along the lines that if they start to exceed 150 people, what are they going to do? Start telling people they have to leave, they can't come in, they could get a little rowdy. So,
All right, we can put together a simple little thing for all these groups to agree to.
Yeah.
So, yep.
and again, it's fluid. Things could certainly change one way or the other as we move forward, especially into the summer months. But just that they're aware and following, we will follow current COVID guidelines regarding capacity limits.
Mr. Chairman, in regards to this, I'd have to abstain and recuse myself.
Okay. Back to the main question of waiving the fee.
I make the motion to waive the fee.
Okay, I'll step down a second. Ms. Bernardo is abstaining due to his work with the state. So is there any further discussion? Motion is made by Mr. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Pires. Any further discussion? No. Okay, all in favor, Mr. Tanner?
Aye.
Mr. Pires, aye. So the fee is waived.
Next item 4G, sanitation facilities on town properties. As you know, back when COVID started, the rule was that if you had a porta potty, it had to be cleaned daily in order to have it. Obviously, they've been gone for a while now, but things are starting to start up again. And it's the question is, should we be putting the porta potties back out there? I haven't heard much about the weekly cleaning, daily cleaning anymore. So I think we could probably put them back out there with the cleaning schedules we had before. But obviously, it's up to the board to decide if we want to do that. Well, the one that was here at the pavilion, the Lions Club always took care of that one. Park and Rec took care of the one here and at the playground between the two town halls and tennis courts.
No, I forget what that's called, where the people can park down in the water.
We'll try Centennial Park.
But Park and Rec took care of those. So
I would recommend we reach out to them to see if they're willing to still do it.
well, we invited the chairman of the Park and Rec to this meeting tonight. He's not here, so we invited him to see so he could be involved in the discussion, but I'll obviously reach out to him.
Yeah, because it's been such a long time, maybe whoever did it's not gonna be willing to do it or whatever. And we're just assuming that it's gonna be clean.
Well, right now, we were the ones not allowing it, so if we're okay with it going back, then it's up to them to put them back, if they want to put them back. We're not saying they have to put it, it's just whether or not they're allowed to have them, so.
I'll make a motion that we allow them to be put back, the porta potties put back, provided the responsible organizations are still willing to adhere to our daily cleaning guidelines.
So we're
Second.
still at daily cleaning.
For now, yeah.
Okay,
Daily,
okay. Motion was made that we, and seconded, that we return the sanitation facilities to town properties, provided they are cleaned once daily by the holding authority responsible. Motion was made by Mr. Tanis, seconded by Mr. Bernardo. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Mr. Tanis, Mr. Bernardo,
Aye.
Mr. Byers is also an aye. So they may be returned as long as they commit to daily cleaning.
4H, municipal opt-out of mosquito control spraying. I believe you all have the letter that we received. Matt, I think you can speak on
Yeah,
this.
so this is in regards, there's some discussion out from Central Mass after, I believe it was the aerial spraying in August and September. Mainly, I had some lengthy discussion with the Bristol County Mosquito Control Director about this this week. And this is not in regards to larvicide, it's the emergency spraying that they do based on EEE later in the summer. This resulted from communities out more in central Mass that do not fall under a mosquito control project. There's some issues there with, what if we don't want to do spray, things like that. This is likely to only be for this year, and we'll sunset after this year. This is not a permanent thing. Would have to go to actual, the lawmakers and be put to full effect. So that being said, I think it's irresponsible to opt out of the spraying. It's well evaluated at the state level to conduct it and is deemed an absolute public health emergency, which is, the state makes that call. So the other issue is you can opt out of it. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get overspray. The planes, while the GPSs are pretty good, are not 100% accurate. So we could opt out, but if Berkeley and Taunton don't opt out, chances are North Dayton's going to get sprayed. So I think that at this point we should not opt out. I don't know of any other community, at least around here, that's opting out, and Bristol County Mosquito Control Project does not encourage opting out.
So the motion would be to recommend to the Board of Selectmen not to opt out of the aerial spraying. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion is made and second. A motion made by Mr. Tanis, seconded by Mr. Bernardo to recommend to the Board of Selectmen not to opt out of aerial spraying. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, Mr. Tanis, Mr. Bernardo,
Aye.
Mr. Byers is also an aye.
I'll say too, if the selectmen have any question regarding the whole mosquito spraying and wants more detailed information, Priscilla, the director for the county's mosquito control, as long as she has certainly enough notice, is willing to come and speak to the boards. So, if absolutely necessary.
4I, pay-as-you-throw trash bag solicitation quotes. As you know, we put out the trash bags for bid every year, and it's now time to put out the bid for next year, which starts July 1st. So Mrs. Grassi and I met with the town administrator to discuss some keys of the new procurement officer, the solicitation of quotes that we did last year, and he was okay with the format that we were going to use. So we're in the process of modifying that. Presumably, and this is what we're looking for input from the board, the bag style and everything that we did last year seems to be going good. We haven't gotten any complaints this year on the bags. I know there was also discussion last year about a flex bag that I guess stretches a little more is the best way to describe it. And do we want a price on that also, so we can decide which one we want? And then the other thing would be, obviously, because of the timing of this, that if the board would authorize Mrs. Grassi and I to start that ball rolling and get it posted or whatever you got to do to get it out there. So those are the three things. So.
Are we talking 1 year, 2 year, 3 year contract?
Yes. So yes, it would be a 1 year contract, possibly with a provision for extension of the contract if agreeable to all parties for 2 years, because to do this every year is a lot of work. And we'd rather be able to do it for 3 years if we could. So it sounds like it's going to be 1 year with an extension clause.
Agreed upon by both parties. Okay. It's hard to believe that 3 years has just passed from the last one.
No,
It was only 1 year.
Oh, it's only
The
one?
previous town administrator only wanted 1 year with no extensions. This town administrator is wanting to do extensions.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah, I would just follow the same specs.
What?
Same specs.
Oh. What about the flex bag? Do you like the idea of a flex bag bid or not?
I don't. I just think the bag we have now, we went through it. We have no complaints, like you said. I wouldn't want to mess around with anything.
The only thing that I requested this year was that who's ever bidding submit at least 5 to 10 bags of each type, because we had an issue last year because 1 or 2 of the bags just ripped, not even on the seam or anything. So, and they were a low bidder. So we had to go through not much of a problem, but we did manage to convince the bidder that, they didn't meet our expectations. So if they submit more bags this year, we could probably have a bigger opportunity, a larger opportunity to see the quality of them with just 1 or 2 bags.
I will say the company that we're getting the bags from right now has been excellent on the shipping. There was a problem once and they've corrected it ever since. And we have no issues with any portion of from start to finish with them. So it's been a good relationship. Just like with Lloyd, this has been a great relationship for trash hauling.
So we have no complaints other than maybe the ties in the beginning weren't long enough.
Yeah, but they fixed that.
Right.
Again, as soon as we get a complaint, they've been fixing it.
But the quality of the bags has been,
No complaint.
Moving to a color instead of blue.
I could care less.
I think you want it clear so they could see what was inside, that it was trash and not everything else.
Do we want to ask what it would cost to get the bag colored?
Could be cheaper, who knows?
I think you should ask Mr. Borges what he thinks about possible color change, and then maybe get a price.
Yeah, why don't you reach out, see if he prefers colors. I know, I don't know any other town that uses clear, they'll color,
Yeah, my understanding, that was the original purpose.
Yeah,
To
I'm just
be able
wondering
to
if,
see the
for
contrast.
them, it might be easier instead of having to try to find a seal, hey, this is our bag, this is the color.
Yep, we can ask.
Yeah, reach out to Mr. Borges, and if he doesn't really care either way, then, just, since stuff up for bid, might as well find out. And hey, if colored bags cost more, then no, that'd be stupid. But if colored bags are cheaper, well, or if they're the same, and it would help or just out maybe. And
So,
We all set?
well, is the board okay with office staff?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. It's a $36,000 contract, so we just want to make sure that, I mean, it's the same as last year, we're just updating it for this. Okay. Item number 5, public input.
Okay, no public input. Moving on to number 6, inspectors reports. You have nothing else to report, do you?
No, the only thing I do want to say is that I feel that personally I'm starting to feel the weight of the stress that's been ongoing for a year, and I think people around me are starting to notice it. That includes people in the office, and I do apologize to those who have to listen to me. But it has been a very stressful time, and we thought like things were getting better, and then they seem to get worse again. And there's always somebody else who needs something right away, and to them it's an emergency, and it's starting to where I think I need to take a couple days off. So, but other than that, it's COVID. But yes, I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
How about a report from our building commissioner?
I just have one public service announcement. My business takes me out into the field quite a bit, and I have seen an enormous amount of ticks already. So I just want the members of the Board of Health to be aware. Fortunately, they haven't been deer ticks, but I'm sure they're not far behind. So if we haven't dealt with enough, I certainly don't want to see people succumb to a deer tick bite and Lyme disease. That's very painful. So, okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Commissioner.
possums and turkeys love ticks, so be good to your possum and turkey population.
And I think guinea hens like them too, don't they?
You have any advice for when you're out hiking and what you should wear for
Light colored clothes, that way you can see them, and cover exposed skin. I know it's summer, everybody wants to get some vitamin D, but if there's that amount of ticks out there, you gotta be careful.
You can put your pants in your socks.
Occasionally, but not that time.
Okay. Well, thanks again. Moving on to number 7, approval of minutes for March 11th and March 29th. I would expect everybody's read the minutes of those 2 dates. So is there a motion to approve the minutes?
a motion for the minutes of March 11th and March 29th.
Second.
Okay, motion is made by Mr. Tanis to approve the minutes of March 11th and March 29th, seconded by Mr. Bernardo. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Mr. Tanis?
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Bernardo? Mr. Pires is an aye. We are moving on to adjournment unless there's something else anybody wants to add. Okay, motion is made to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion to adjourn by Mr. Tanis, seconded by Mr. Bernardo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Tanis?
Aye.
Mr. Bernardo?
Aye.
That being said, good night, everybody. Thank you, and have a wonderful weekend.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Kevin.